Hey guys, let's talk about recaps. Alright guys, I was just waving to a Western Express sitting next to me at a parking truck stop. He's smoking himself a cigar, probably similar to mine. So, not always a big fan of Western Express. I did go through their orientation 2 days, so I feel like I have an obligation to say hello to my almost fellow associates. Anyway, it's always good to see a cigar smoker out there. I wanted to talk about recaps today. It's been a while since I've done recaps because the company I was with before, they didn't run me hard enough to even get on recaps. Crazy. So, I'm going to show you here on my little white. Okay, so, and this is the question that I always got confused on. So I'm going to challenge, there's a lot of drivers that follow me that have more experience than me on here. So if I misspoke, you please put in the comments. But the way I understand the recaps is I started out on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Okay? So what they used to say is, you know, Monday to Monday is 8 days. Well, that's true, it is. But you have to run the full day Monday in order to earn the miles or the hours for your following Monday. So you really don't really get your recaps till Tuesday. So you know, it is Monday to Monday, but that doesn't mean anything. What matters to me is when do I get my numbers back? Because it's actually, you run the full day Monday, and then you've completed your day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because at midnight, after the completion of the first full day, midnight Monday, which is Tuesday morning at 12:01 or 12 o'clock in the morning, that's when you get your recap. So you really got to think about it. So if you start out on Monday, the numbers that you're going to get on your 8-day log, because I was coming into the day with only 4 hours and 24 minutes. Let's go back to status here. So what I have here is I've only driven 2.4 miles. I dropped my load off. Hours to be gained at midnight tonight will be 7 hours and 39 minutes. 2 days from now, I'll get another 9:34. So that gives you a quick way to recap and see how you're going to drive. Because that is about all I have to drive. So today's the 3rd. I've driven 2.4 miles, 22 minutes. I've been a half an hour on duty because I was at a shipper dropping and hooking. And these are all the what the recaps are going to be for the 8 days. So I've got a decent amount of hours. So what I want to do is I want to try to build it back up. I only got 3 hours and 52 minutes. So when I came into this morning on my 8th day, I thought I had a full 8 and 10. You know, I thought I had a full 8, 11, and 14. And then I had extra. I thought I had 3 hours and 52 minutes on top of that. But that is not the case, because I will not get my 8 hours, or I will not get my recap until tomorrow morning at midnight from whatever I did a week ago last Monday. So you got to keep that in mind. That's tricky. Because right now I've got a babysit. I got to go pick a load up an hour away and shut down. And I'll save I want to save my 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, so that when I go to my tomorrow, that'll give you 7 hours and 39 minutes plus whatever's left over, which is only about 2 or 3 hours. So I don't want to eat that up because then I'll be stuck with only 9 hours. I want to build my recaps up. And I think the key is nobody's ever been able to tell me, I guess it's a personal preference, but what you want to do is you want to have at least 4 to 8 hours in the hopper, almost like in the bank. Call it money. $4 to $8 in the bank on top of your 8-hour day, just to be safe. But it's hard to do that when you try to run hard, because I averaged I don't know, about 9 hours. About 9 hours, and you really can only average 8 hours and 45 minutes. Now let's talk about the 11-hour drive. If you got 11 hours to drive, that don't mean you just get in the truck and go. At ATS, you got to log at least 6 minutes during the pre-trip. And if you get fuel, you got to log at least 6 minutes. When you go to drop a load off or pick a load up, you got to log at least 6 minutes. Should do a post-trip inspection. That would be logged at 6 minutes. So roughly 24 minutes. So you know you got at least a pre-trip and either a fuel or a drop typically. So probably going to lose about 15 minutes. So out of that 11-hour drive time, you're down to 10 hours and 45 minutes. But remember, you can only average 8 hours and 45 minutes. If you take 8 hours and 45 minutes of on duty, that's 8.75 if you round it into numbers and not time, times 8 days, that's 70 hours. So you got to remember, you can only average 8 hours and 45 minutes. Now you're going to lose 15 minutes between doing your pre-trip and then maybe fueling or dropping. So that gives you 8 hours and 30 minutes that you can actually try to average driving. So 8 hours a day. It's not too much. And a lot of drivers will be over that. And that's why you get caught like I do and like a lot of drivers do. Because we can always drive more than 8 hours a day. I mean, even when I was sick, I could do 8 hours, although I didn't like it. But, so that means that if you do 9 hours or 10 hours, then one day you got to back off because you only want to average 8 hours and 30 minutes a day. So you have to watch your clock every day. You can't wait until you get to the end of the recap. And I was kind of watching it, but it's been a while since I've ran on recaps, so I mistook the 4 hours and 32 minutes as I was going to have an 8-hour full day today plus 4 hours. I was like, okay, cool, that's what I want. Ain't it? So if I could tell you anything on recaps, is keep a log every day. I mean, or you can look at the log on the book and try to average 8 hours and 30 minutes, and you should end up with another 8-hour day on average. And it's hard because, you know, if we get paid by the mile, we want to put all the miles we can in. I mean, so starting down there at the bottom, when I started out on Monday the 27th, I guess that's a Monday, I averaged 7 hours, and I ran 7.5 hours, and I ran 9 hours, 9 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. See how I'm getting a little heavy? If I'm supposed to be averaging 8.5, I was doing okay here on the first 4 days, but then I went heavy. Look at that, 10 hours, 55 minutes. I don't know how I pulled that off. Oh, that's on duty. Because remember, your on duty is both your on duty, you know, like if you're fueling or something, pre-tripping, and you're driving. So you don't want to just say, oh, I want to watch my driving hours. No, because you got to add in the potentially 30 minutes or 15 minutes extra that you are going to lose because you have to be showing on duty to fuel or to drive, you know, to load inside the yard. There's some on-duty time that's going to be consumed. So the on-duty time total is what you need to be looking at. But you can see here, the first 4 days I was doing okay, because you want to average 8.5, so that's 7.5. Then I went 9.5, so that averaged 8.5. Then I went 9, so I went about 30 minutes over my average, but then I went under 30 minutes. So I was doing great the first 4 days. But then I went really heavy, 11 and just about 11 and 11. So I'm 4 hours over. And I went another 30 minutes over. And this is why I ended up with just half of a day. So that's why I ended up with just, you know, 4 hours instead of 8 hours available on my clock today. I let it get away from me. So I don't know if that helps. Put down in the comments if it does. If you're not a driver and you're just following me just for the adventures of what the Kangaroo Trucker's doing, I appreciate it. But this is some of the basic math that we have to go through every day, and that's a neat challenge. And I do like the challenge of trying to run my clock to the best I can. But if you let it get away from you, and I've been out of practice because the previous company didn't run me. And it's interesting, I'll have to let you know, my wife told me I have a registered letter that I have to sign for from the previous company, so I'm wondering what that's all about. So stay tuned on what Metropolitan sent me. I don't know if I did anything wrong or if they're going to want some money back that they gave me. I don't know how that works. Probably in the small print that they never went over. We will see. But anyway, I'm up here in Wilton, New York. It's cold. There's snow on the ground, but it's pushed off the road. It's I'm heading on a load down to Virginia. So I was going up 87 and it said Montreal. That's all it said, was Montreal. Interstate 87. I said, I don't want to go to Montreal. I was saying that out loud when I was driving. I said, I don't want to go to Montreal. I did go to Montreal when I was 16 years old, but that was in June. I don't want to go to Montreal. Why did that sign have to say Montreal? I know I'm not going to Montreal. And then about 2 miles up the road it says Montreal, 209 miles. I'm like, well, that was not necessary to get me all rattled. I thought I was on the wrong road or something. Montreal. And then it says, why didn't it just say 87, upstate New York? That would have made me feel a lot more comfortable. The unnecessary anxiousness is what it did to me. But up here, dropped off at the Target Center. Ran into another driver from ATS. He acted like he knew me, and I just act like I guess he knows me. So I talked to him back, and where I'm like, I'm sitting there figuring out. I said, hey, he said, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. I said, yeah, you look familiar. And we talked a little bit, and then I finally saw he had an ATS on his jacket. I said, oh, okay. And I thought, how does he know I work for ATS? And I forgot I have an ATS hat on, so I said, okay, I put 2 and 2 together. So he assumed he knew me from there. And I said, how long you been with ATS? He said 6 years. I said, they treating you all right? He says, yeah. He says, they are, but he said, it's been slow the last 6 months. I go, yeah, the freight has been slow the last 6 months. He said, how long you been with him? I said, just, I think it's my 2nd week. He goes, oh, hell. He said, I thought I knew you. He said, I must have recognized you from somebody I thought looked like you. I said, oh, that's all right. So he and I watched a little bit of the Super Bowl last night. I stayed up till the halftime show, and then I went to bed. Woke up and found out the Chiefs won, so I was proud of them for that. I knew they were a little bit of the underdogs, and I always like to root for the underdogs. So anyway, you guys take care. Let me know if the recaps helped you, and I will be in touch.